You're listening to Real Talk Texas with local expert Steve Hakes. Now, here's Steve.
Welcome back to Real Talk Texas. Today in the studio, we've got Carl Stanley of Rising Point Solutions based in Grapevine, Texas, right in the middle of the Metroplex, so very convenient for those of you out there listening if you need some help with your credit. And that's our topic today is what's going on with the credit repair industry, what's happening with the credit industry in general. I know that on my standpoint as a mortgage professional that, you know, the bar keeps being raised. Credit guidelines of credit availability to get loans keeps tightening up. So it becomes more and more important, I think, for consumers out there to make sure they are protecting their credit. They're doing everything they can to have the best possible score, and that means not only having good credit. It means not just shutting down everything you have. That's the worst thing you can do. It's having credit, making sure that you can prove that you've got it available to you and you're using it responsibly. That's what helps drive your scores up. And Carl, you know, on the break we were just kind of discussing some of the misconceptions about the credit repair industry, and I just wanted to ask you, you know, for our listeners out there, you know, what are some of the misconceptions about credit repair?
Well, I think the biggest one is that a lot of people are embarrassed when they have negative credit or bad credit scores. They're embarrassed to talk to somebody, to seek out that help, and I think a lot of people have the misconception that credit repair is only for people who don't pay their bills, or it's only for people who are, you know, in a bad place in life or downtrodden, and that's not the case at all. The vast majority of our customers are hardworking couples, blue collar, white collar, dual income families, trying to keep their credit in a good area so that they can buy and refinance homes. And you know, over the years, we've had professional athletes, we've had mayors and business owners, and credit affects everybody in every area of their life. So I think that's one big misconception is the type of clientele we're dealing with. If you're out there and listening to the radio, and you could be anybody that has credit troubles. It happens to everybody and affects everybody. So that's one. The other one that I like to mention is that there's nothing that we do for a consumer that they can't do themselves officially, according to the federal government. But the reality is the service that we provide is an in-depth, intensive type of service that takes months and months to accomplish our goals. So while technically it's true that credit repair services can't do anything that you can't do yourself, at the same time we have years of experience doing it. So for most consumers, we're going to be able to help them get into an area with their credit in a very short amount of time, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months, that might take them years to get to on their own.
Well, that's just like, you know, I always say you can prepare your own tax returns as well. It's not always the best idea or the best use of your time. And so, I mean, there's certain areas of your life that you really need a real professional in your life. And that's why at Real Talk Texas, we have different professionals on our show. We've had trust attorneys, we've had CPAs, and today we've got Carl Stanley. And he's talking about the credit repair industry, and he's with Rising Point Solutions in Grapevine, Texas. And if you need to contact Carl directly, you can go to risingpointsolutions.com, and that's a good way to go check him out. He is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and we've checked him out at Real Talk Texas. I personally have referred a lot of my clients to Carl's firm because I've never had a complaint come back from a consumer that they weren't happy with the service that they got there. So, you know, Carl, tell me a little bit about some of our past clients that we've sent over there. What kind of success have you had in helping clients out with their credit?
Well, it's kind of a good segue into how we do business. I mean, obviously, you're a mortgage professional and help people obtain home loans and financing. And I did want to mention it's exactly that. This is a professional service with professional referrals. The vast majority of our customers are looking to either buy or refinance a home. And so that's our goal for our customers, is to help them get to that point in life as quickly as possible. A couple of examples. We had a consumer in from one of our mortgage partners in San Antonio that enrolled in our program about 75 days ago. And I got word a couple days ago that they're closing on their house. Their score was about a 530 when we started, and they're closing on their house. They're already set to close in 75 days. they're set to close, and I think their score is up to a 640. And although that's not where we ultimately want to help them get their score, it's good enough to get the home loan and help make their dreams come true of being homeowners. This is going to be the first home that they've ever owned, and it wouldn't be possible unless they sought help with their credit. They just didn't know enough about credit to affect the change that they needed to affect.
And sometimes when I look at that, it's the advice that you've given my customers, and it's, maybe it's just that they're maxing out their credit cards. I mean, it's amazing how much, if you have more than, 49% leverage on your credit cards, because we call that credit utilization, it can dramatically affect your scores in a negative fashion. Could be that you've paid everything on time. You just got your credit cards maxed out.
Yeah. Our program is more of a holistic program. It's an educational and resource-driven program. This isn't traditional credit repair. This isn't about going in and disputing everything on your credit report and trying to get a temporary fix and shoot your scores up. With our customers, this is about sitting down with them and figure out every area on their credit report that they can affect score change. So for this customer that had a 530 and went to a 640, that score jump wasn't a result of us going in and taking a bunch of legitimate negative items off their credit report. That's not what this is about. This is about sitting down with that customer and, we're going in and identifying the negative areas on their credit that we can change, the duplicate accounts, the misreported information, identity theft issues, things that we can affect on our side. But if we can get them 50 or 60 points by doing what we do, we're also helping the customer, like you said, identify things they can do on their side, which might be paying down balances. It might be opening up additional accounts. It might be paying a specific collection or charge off. There's a number of ways consumers can affect score on their side in addition to what we're doing. That's why it's important that we sit down with them up front and help them maximize how many points they can get. This customer, if they had not done what we asked, wouldn't be getting into a new home, but they did everything we asked and were able to affect that kind of change.
Well, and I think the other part is they really got to be engaged with your firm, and they got to be working on a monthly basis. Every time you guys make an action, they got to report back to you guys and give your people all the information or what they receive in the mail from the bureaus. I hear from people that have been in the mortgage business longer than I've been in. There was a time before credit scoring. And that's when everybody just sat down and they actually just looked at a credit report. And when I went through my training to become a mortgage loan officer, that's how I was trained. It's like take the credit report and really read it. And if there was a period of time something happened, block that off and say, I lost my job. And for 6 months I got behind, but I got a new job and I'm recovered. I've got everything caught up and everything's cool right now. So at that time, you could get a mortgage loan. But now with credit scoring, his score may be too low, so now we've got a problem. We can't give him approval right now. I do want to mention right now, when I've got an opportunity to, that Affiliated Bank, we've got something that's very unique in the marketplace. If you've had a situation like I just described, you come to Affiliated Bank mortgage loan place, or you come to my office or call me up, I've got something called a Make Sense Mortgage, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I can look at a situation like that, and I would say, yeah, it makes sense to do this loan. I would lend this person my money. And so in that situation, we've got, it's not a subprime loan, but it's not an A-paper loan. It's kind of like in between to bridge the gap. And we've got a product out there called our Make Sense Mortgage, and it truly can get people into a home, even if all the computer systems say no. And so if you're in that situation, send a text to our show. I'm going to give you two things to send a text to the show. One is if you text the word credit, I'm going to put you in touch with Carl Stanley in the Rising Point Solution Group. And if you're looking for financing, or you're looking to be pre-qualified for a house, or you're looking to refinance, just go ahead and text the show, and I'm going to give you this number in a second. Just text the word finance, and we'll get a hold of you. Now, the number, now pull out your cell phone. The number is 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. And that's our show here at Real Talk Texas. And just text the word credit to be put in touch with Rising Point Solutions, or the word finance, and we'll take care of you and help you out there. So in our next segment, when you come back after the break, we're going to talk a little more with Carl Stanley of Rising Point Solutions. He's our real expert on credit for Real Talk Texas, and we're really happy to have him on the show today. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the things you can do to make sure that you're getting the best rates on your, whether it's your mortgage or your auto or your homeowner's insurance, or to make sure that when you do that employment screen that everything comes back the way it should and accurate. And I think that's the biggest thing that Carl will stress, is to make sure that you get a lot of those inaccuracies, things that you don't know about that are on your credit report that may not work so well for you. So stay tuned. We'll have Carl Stanley back after the break, and we'll talk more about your credit.